Well, it's a very good morning, or what's left of it, here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the opening round of the Trophy Series for several of the categories that didn't quite make it to SRO or Supercars this year with the changes that have been going on with those arrangements. Also, hello to those who are watching on our live stream, whether it's in Australia or anywhere else around the world. So it could be evening, afternoon or morning. We're going to start this event off with the first race for the second round of the Osborne Transports HQ Holdens. It's a 30-minute race that will precede our lunch break, after which we'll have Aussie Racing Cars, the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars that is, for race one of round one, and a good 33 car field there, followed by the Toyota Gazoo Racing Australia 86 Cup. Second round, race one, 41 entries, huge field for that, and that'll be followed by the Advanced Car Carriers Sports Sedans National Series, first of three races for them, and we complete the day with the second race of Aussie Racing Cars for the day. So we're looking forward to this. We're not far off our start for the HQ Holdens. They're in the pre-grid at the moment, ready to roll out onto the track. As I said before, the Trophy Series has been brought about by the promoters and the categories wanting to have a series of events where they may have been left off some of the programs because of changes. So they've been given the 1 minute board to make their way out onto the track. And quite suitably, that Osborne Transport's HQ Holden should be led by Brett Osborne, who is the pole setter for this event. He was fastest ahead of Luke Harrison. Jared Harbour in third position. He was actually the pole sitter at the opening round at One Raceway not that long ago. And it's Glenn Deering will be out of position 4, Dave Proglio out of 5, John Baxter in 6, Dave Allen out of 7, Matt Baxter out of 8, Jason Johnson and Ashton Parker are the next two. Then we have Leach, Growdy, Simpson, Parker, McLeody, Deering and Simpson rounding out the field as second of the Deering cars at the back there. So they roll out of the pre-grid, or the dummy grid as it used to be called, but they figured that there's no dummies in there, so there's no point in calling it that. This is a 30-minute race, the first of three this weekend. Tomorrow's schedule, we do add the New South Wales Supercarts, which will qualify first up and have 4 races throughout the day. HQs, of course, will have 2 more races, as will the other categories on the program. So while it's not the greatest number of categories, it gives everyone plenty of track time. There's certainly a full array of practice sessions on Friday, yesterday, which gives everyone a real look at what they've got ahead of them this weekend. Of course, all races, or most races these days, are time certain, and the time begins as they leave the pre-grid. So we've, by the time we get to the start and get going, we'll be about 3 minutes already through. And that way we can maintain a track schedule to the second almost. Fair bit happening on this weekend. Lots of activity on track around the country. We've got 3 state championships in 3 separate states. We've got Race Tasmania down in Tasmania at Timmins Plains, and the Rally of Canberra down in the nation's capital. So you cannot be starved of motorsport around the country today. Those state meetings are in Western Australia at the Collie Motorplex, in South Australia at the Bend Raceway, and in Queensland at Morgan Park. But we're here at City Motorsport Park with a mixture of national and state categories. The three state categories. There's New South Wales Sports Sedans running in conjunction with the Advanced Car Carriers National Sports Sedans. We have HQ Holdens, which we're out on track now, and of course the Supercars, which we'll see for a qualifying and 4 races on Sunday. The cars make their way around the top of the track. Brett Osborne leads the way. The Osborne Transport cars finished first and second at one raceway, even though Jared Harbour was the fastest qualifier. Had a bit of a hiccup about a third of the way into the first race and slipped back through the field, and then had a broken gear lever in the second race, so his weekend, while starting out very strongly, sort of dissipated with a couple of dramas. But there's no denying just how good Brett Osborne is in these cars, and actually he's double dutying this weekend. He's also racing in the Battery Worlds Aussie racing cars in the familiar number 86 Aussie Racer, Camaro bodied car in that field, and we'll get to that later of course. So they're all gridded up, waiting for the green flag at the back, and we'll be underway. The first of 3 races this weekend. Now get the metric minute board in a sec. Green flag out, metric minute board goes up. Metric means it doesn't actually go for a minute. Red lights are on, and we have a start, and away they go. And it looks like Luke Harrison might have got the best of starts on the outside in the number 17 black and white HQ Holden, and he gets through to take the lead with Brett Osborne in second in the number 1 car, and already Jared Harbour up to third, and he pushes along the inside there. It looks like Osborne's gone wide at turn 2, and that's allowed Harbour through into second. I think 39, the Dave Proglio car, has got ahead of him as well, while Glenn Deering follows in fourth, kicks up a bit of dust out of turn 3, heads across the top of the tunnel, down the other side, and it's Proglio and Barker alongside each other out of turn 4. Actually, Osborne did manage to salvage that third spot. And Proglio runs wide at turn 5. They get a little bit of leniency on that first lap around turn 5, and John Baxter, in all sorts of trouble, gets hit from behind, or not the car behind his fault, but got up on the ripple strip out of turn 6, and just got a little nudge from the car that had behind him, had nowhere to go, and spun off onto the infield. Managed to get going again. So just a light touch there from someone that's behind. I just didn't see who that was. But certainly an Osborne 1-2 is not looking great, as we've got another car spinner out of turn 8, and he manages to salvage that and move along. Meantime, it's Harrison that leads the way, and Osborne already got a great run out of that last corner, moves down alongside, gets a bit of side draft and moves ahead of Harbour, takes away second position. Gap between the two at the end of that first lap, 0.8 of a second, so it's been a great start from Harrison to lead the first lap round of this first race, and we've had the number 4 go very wide. Glenn Deering massively off track at turn 1, but manages to salvage it and holds on to 4th spot, just in front of Dave Proglio in 5th. Got a bit of a gap back then to Matt Baxter, and following him would be the Jason Johnson car in position 7. Dave Allen and I just lost that spot actually to Darren Parker, and it was the 12 that unfortunately had nowhere to go. That was Dave Allen, who just nudged the back of Baxter at turn 6 on that previous lap to turn him into a bit of a spin. Nothing he could have done about that. Right on the back corner of that car. So Harrison continues to lead, but Brett Osborne was fastest in that first sector of lap 2 by about 0.3 of a second. The fastest of the race so far, and actually trying to bridge that gap. So we've seen a change of lead. Osborne's gone through. We missed that. Harrison must have had a bit of an error at turn 8, I think, because it wasn't close enough to, I would have thought, to have actually got him. But Brett Osborne out where he normally is, out in front as they come down to finish lap 2. He leads the way with Harrison in second, Harbour, Glenn Deering, Dave Proglio, the next one through. That group of 5 has certainly got away from Matt Baxter in the next position, followed by Darren Parker, Dave Allen, Ashton Parker. Car 8 is in 11th position, that's Adam Leach. He's followed by the number 47 of Gordon McCleary. And we're just seeing car 26 Parker go up the inside of the 80. That's Darren Parker putting a move on Baxter. That's Mark Baxter's car, of course. Gets that spot away. And just behind him, Dave Allen in the number 12. Ahead of them still at this stage is Johnson and Parker. Just watching this bit of a dice. This is where the action's happening. Mark Baxter just gets that spot back from Darren Parker. Dave Allen in between. Those three are locked together at this stage and have a little bit of a gap on Ashton Parker in the number 40. And they come around through turn 7 down to turn 8. Nothing between those three at the moment. A little close, you can actually see a few little battle scars on the number 12. Dave Allen, where he had a touch he couldn't avoid, really. I think they're actually making a little bit of ground on Johnson as well at this point. Meantime, half a second, Osborne leads Harrison at this stage, coming up to complete the third lap, still with some 19.5 minutes of this race to go, so lots of time left in it. And this dice we were talking about before still going on as Allen moves down the outside of Parker to try and take that spot away. Is he close enough to try and make a move on Baxter as well? Not quite, so he does move up a spot. And that does put him into 8th position. Meantime, Ashton Parker's pulled in both those as well, so he's got into this scrap as they come through turn 3 and head up over the bridge for the 4th time. And Baxter got that, managed to hold that spot, but has he now as they go through turn 4. Allen moves down the inside, takes that spot away. Darren Parker tries to go with him, but he's on the wrong side of the track for turn 5. And already Dave Allen has been able to move away, get a gap on Baxter, who now has to look out for not one Parker, but 2 of them, because they're both right on his tail as they head up round the back of Corporate Hill through turn 7. Nothing's changed much up the front. Osborne, Harrison, Harbour, Deering and Proglio maintain position. Johnson now will come under threat from Dave Allen. And we can see from our vision that those 4 cars are not that far behind Johnson. As they will now, I would imagine that Darren Parker will be the first to try and slipstream his way past Mark Baxter down the straight. Don't know if he's quite close enough to get it done on this occasion. But he's now pulled out, so maybe he has carrying a little bit more speed than the number 80. And they're almost side by side, so I think he'll get this done into turn 1. He does. So that's cost Baxter another spot. And we'll drop him down to 9th. Oh, and then Darren Parker undoes it all at turn 2, locks the brake, runs wide, and Baxter gets that spot back. Now he's under threat from Ashton Parker, right behind his father. And not only did it cost him a spot, it cost him about 4 car lengths on Baxter as well. So he's got to make up that gap before he can have another go. Now Ashton Parker moves alongside and takes away that position from Darren Parker as they went through turn 4 and 5. So that's been a costly lock-up from the number 26. Now has to try and do it all again. And we're just taking Johnson and Allen, that gap there is about 0.3 of a second. So Allen has negated that gap a little bit to Jason Johnson. And we can see that he's right on the tail of the red number 10. So they go up through the top part of the track. We're still watching this through. This has been the dice of the race, and unfortunately Mark Baxter's been caught up in all of it and generally been passed, but then been able to get those spots back. In the meantime, Allen tries to go side by side with Johnston, but he can't quite do it, so he has to settle in behind as Ashton Parker makes a move and tries to bring Darren Parker through with him. So Ashton Parker gets past Mark Baxter as they head into turn 1 and pulled away a fair bit quite quickly. So the Parker cars are carrying more speed through turn 1, or as they get that momentum by getting past. And Ashton Parker has not made the same mistake that Darren Parker made and holds that spot. So just ahead of them, it's Jason Johnston and Dave Allen fighting it out for what will be 6th and 7th, or 6th if whoever wins out of this dice at this stage. They go through turn 5 and head towards turn 6. And Allen did have a look. I think that was probably just to see if he can unnerve Johnson just ahead of him. Not quite close enough to actually make a move, but I guess if you've got someone looking in the mirrors, you can try those things to try and unsettle them a little bit. But certainly Allen having a little bit more pace at the moment, but to be able to pull that bit of a gap back and get the job done. And then Johnson runs wide out of turn 8. They're side by side as they head to 9 now. And I think the inside running gets him at least a car length in front, and he's been able to hold position. So Allen has been the hard charger of this race, although Johnson comes back at him at turn 11 and gets that spot back. They'll run side by side out onto the straight with Johnson back ahead as they head down the straight. And again, it'll be a side by side run between the two of them, but track position belongs to Johnson, and he's able to sneak his car back in front. And in the background, I see there that John Baxter's made up all those positions he lost on the opening lap, and he trails Mark Baxter through turn 1, having got past Darren Parker, and now looking to make a move on Mark Baxter at turn 2. Pulls out of it, and Ashton Parker's been a big lose. He stayed out wide. I think he might have an issue. He's allowed all 3 of them to get past him. So they come out of that corner and head up across the tunnel once more. now John Baxter down into turn 4, passes Mark Baxter, and that will move him up to 8th position from essentially the rear of the field halfway through the first lap. So it's been a good fight back. How much further can he make up? Can he get to the next two, which is Johnson and Allen, where Johnson still leads the two, and John Baxter quickly moved away from that 3, so he's certainly got pace on them. He finished 2nd at the opening round behind his teammate Brett Osborne at One Raceway. So it's been a good fight back, and in the meantime he'll start making inroads in, particularly as these two are probably dicing just up ahead of him. That's Johnson and Allen, and that battle continues. Now Allen is close enough to have another shot as they go down the straight, and he is right behind the red number 10 as they come out of that top corner and head down the straight. It potentially gets side draft down the straight, a bit of a slipstream and then potential side draft. More passing going on, so there's been no lack of passing in this race as we see Ashton Parker go past Mark Baxter down the straight. I think Mark Baxter will get the prize for being passed by the most people and getting quite a few of them back in the course of a race. And we've had Allen run wide out of turn 1, out over the ripple strip into the dirt, and that's cost him time. It's cost him probably any chance of probably getting to Johnson in the next 10 minutes if John Baxter keeps closing as he has. Very close at the closing quite quickly on these two ahead of him at the moment. And Allen has certainly had the pace to probably get this job done, but has just had a couple of hiccups of running a bit wide it's cost him spots. So that was Darren Parker that got past Mark Baxter. So as Ashton Parker is obviously got a problem. He's dropped a little bit off the pair of them. And meanwhile, back at the front of the field, the race for the outright winner is back on as Harrison has negated that gap. It was about half a second at one point, but now there's nothing in it. Harrison is a 3-time runner-up in the HQ Nationals. And incidentally, the HQ Nationals will be back here at City Motorsport Park in September. And there'll be one fella that'll be very keen to wipe off the record of 3 bridesmaids and come home with an actual title, probably deservingly so. But he had at the last one, he had to play bridesmaid to the guys just in front of him actually. So Brett Osborne is the national title holder, and it's not the first time he's done that either. So what can he do of trying to get past Brett Osborne? The time left is just over 9 minutes. He's certainly got the pace to go with him at the moment. The fastest lap belongs to Brett Osborne at a 1:58.92 with a 1:59.60, so quite a gap. So it's only in the last couple of laps that Harrison's been able to bring that gap down, and we're having so the misdemeanors continue for some of the runners back in the field, and it's just seen Jason Johnson lose that spot that he's been holding on to for so long to Allen, who came from nowhere basically, takes a spot back at turn 2 when Johnson ran a little bit wide. Now we've got John Baxter right behind them as they go around turn 4, turn 5, head up over the top. So dare say that with the pace that John Baxter's got at the moment, he's bound to get past Johnson pretty soon, and pretty soon is actually turn 6, gets the job done. It's the spot where he was spun around on the opening lap, and now he comes back so strongly, he's fighting for 7th position and likely to have it. So come around the back of Corporate Hill, he has, and Allen just up the road in front of him, so there's a potential to be 6th from the back of the grid. Strong performance so far. And just checking to see how far up the road he would have to go to get to position 5, and that's something like about 10 seconds. So probably a bit of an ask, given how much time's left in this race. We'll come out to complete the 10th lap. Our leaders are already on their 11th, and the gap between them 7/10 of a second, so it's gone out a little bit. So it might have been a bit of a lull for Osborne in front. Harrison negated that gap fairly quickly, and now Osborne just say, right, I've given the tyres a bit of a rest, let's go on with it. It was a 30-minute race, is fairly long for HQ Holden, which, and we've got Allen off the track again at turn 1, gets it back though, but it's cost him a place as John Baxter moves ahead. So he's finally got that move done, and well, it was going to. It looked inevitable that he was going to do it anyway. He's got that spot back. He can now try and hunt down with 6.5 minutes to go, and perhaps getting the win. Further action, further back in the field. The 888 of Daniel Gowdry running a bit wide at turn 2. He was up a couple of spots, but it's allowed Adam Leach and Gordon McCleary to get through on him. But he's coming back a little bit at turn 4. Not quite close enough to do anything about it, and I think that my result in the favour of those two aforementioned, just due to a simple little mistake from Gowdry at turn 2, although he's keen to get back. Running across the back of the McCleary car, trying to perhaps look for a way to get past. Not quite close enough, although his range is alongside. He's just, if he can hold position, he can't on the outside at turn 7, which would have given him a good run down to turn 8. McCleary covered his lines pretty easily, and now looking for a way past Leach as they leave turn 8, and Harrison gets back to lead. So on lap 11, Luke Harrison has got the lead back, the lead he had at the very start. It's been a fascinating turnout now. Osborne comes down to turn number 4, trying to get past. He can't quite do it there. Not quite close enough actually, so Harrison now leads, and it's a good sign for Harrison if he wants to get that bridesmaid mantle off his back. Now Osborne tried to pull in the inside as they went from 5 to 6. Wasn't quite close enough to do it. Again, this just the idea of throwing the car around in the rear vision mirror, just to let you know that where is he going to come from. And Harrison now in front. And actually, if anything, he's pulled a little, at least a car length on Osborne. Between 7 and 8, so he's actually probably the biggest gap in this lead at the moment. So it was 0.6 of a second at the second marker of the lap, and I think it could even be a touch more now. So come around to complete what will be lap 11 with 4 minutes left of this race to go, and then of course when the time runs out, it'll be then the last lap. Actually coming up to put a lap on one of the back markers. I think that's car 28. That's Brett Simpson. So he may have had a drama somewhere else on the track. We did see car 5 into the pits. We did mention that Jake Deering pulled in on lap 4. So he was well back in the field as it was anyway. HQs really only have 2 major issues. They tend to blow head gaskets and they tend to have gearbox problems because they still run the 3-speed. Generally speaking though, it's floor mounted shifter rather than on the column. So just coming up, and see our leaders coming up on a back marker. Hopefully he's not going to be in any chance to interfere, and in the meantime at the back of the field, Gowdry has managed to get past both those cars that were that got past him initially. So that's been a good comeback. And they both succeed. The front two both succeeded in getting past the lap car, and the gap is down to nothing now again between the two. And Osborne, who has had numerous national titles, humongous amount of state titles, and is even doubling up in running an Aussie racing car. He's done it all. But can he win this race? That's the next question. They come around to the top of the track again. And it's the Sainty number 17 HQ, the black car that leads away from the Osborne Transports HQ, the number 1 plate on the side of that car in the Osborne Transports HQ Holden category. They come down to cross the start finish line to complete lap 12. And if you're watching on the live stream, I don't think that was a passing move. That was just to get some air into the front of the car and, if anything, try and unnerve your rival that's ahead of you. And Harrison holds his line into turn 2. Gets on the juice pretty quickly out of 3 and maintains that gap between the two. Actually, the first half of the lap seems to be more in favour of Harrison. The second part of it goes with Osborne by the look of it. And on that lap, there was 0.3 of a second difference to that first sector. And Harrison got a bit loose coming out of 4, so that might not have helped. Be interested to see what it is at the end of the second sector, because I tend to think that it may favour the latter. Harbour still in third, and he's actually matching their times at the moment. It's just that the gap's blown out a bit. And yes, coming out of turn 7, nothing between the two. They were nose to tail. Now through turn 8, and Harrison holds the line. You can use the slow line. There's nowhere else for your rival to go. And here we go. Osborne having a look as they run to turn 9 and gets alongside. He's on the wrong side of the track, or can he stay out wide and hold that spot? Looks like he whizzed, but he's ran wide as well. They come through side by side through 10 and out of 11, and Harrison will hold on barely, because if anything, Osborne actually had the lead there for a while, so and Harrison wasn't going to give him any of the side drafts as they run down to the checkered flag. It's going to be so tight in this, and I think Osborne got it by 0.497 of a second. How close it was. Got the draft. Harrison tried to pull out of that draft, move across as quickly because he could see what was going to happen, and unfortunately wasn't able to capitalise, and Osborne got him. Seen a late spin from Leach, and I think that's been his challenge gone. So Jared Harbour finishes in third spot, Glenn Deering in fourth, Dave Proglio in fifth, John Baxter got the better of Dave Allen to finish in sixth spot, and Jason Johnston in position 8, waiting for 8th and 9th and 10th to come across the line. And again, this is going to be close. Mark Baxter just getting ahead of Ashton Parker. Darren Parker, the next one through. And then we've got the dice further back with Daniel Gowdry and Gordon McCleary, the next two through. Well, when they get back to Parc Ferme, we'll have a quick chat to our winners, and then we'll have a quick lunch break before we get into the racing this afternoon. Here with the place getters in the first race of the second round of the Osborne Transports HQ Holdens, and in third spot was Jared Harbour. Now you were the pole sitter down at the last round, went close this time, looked like you had a really good start. What happened from there?
Last round, brake failure. So we, it is what it is. It's part of racing. So slipped back a couple of spots, got it fixed, and just had to make up some spots. But yeah, it is what it is.
What about today?
Today, it's I don't know. It's pretty good. Started P3, and then got a cracker start on the boys, and the blue car wasn't too far to catch me again. So, but no, it was a good race. These two got away, and I just sort of stood there by myself and kept going around.
Well, what we'll look forward to, we've got 2 more races tomorrow, so we'll look forward to those.
Yeah, it should be good. Starting third again, obviously, and try and chase these boys down. Hard ones to get.
Good luck with that. Luke Harrison, second spot. Now we called you a bridesmaid because you've had 3 national title second place finishes, and you got beaten today. But my God, there wasn't much in it.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Bretto, but we're trying our best to get in front of him. But it's just we need that little bit more power. So we'll go back to the drawing board and see what we can do.
Now, actually, you led at the start, and then you got the lead back later on, and just got pipped at the post.
Yeah, pipped at the last corner. He got round me just up the back straight here, went side by side on the straight, and he pipped me at the line.
Now, we could see you just pulled immediately to the left. You didn't want any of that side draft, did you?
Nah, trying not to, but no, he had a good run on the straight, and he got me.
Well, all best for, and let's hope we can see a change come tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully.
Brad Osborne, another winner again. National titles to your belt, state championships to your belt, and first round was yours as well. So now you start off the second in the ideal way, although it was closer than you probably thought.
Yeah, like you said, round 1 was good for us. Jared pipped me for pole down there, so I had a bit of a battle on my hands down there, but managed to get the round win. Today got pole. Luke got me off the start. I had a bit of a dud start, to be honest. Got him back on, I think, the second lap, and then let him for a fair bit of the way, and then he got a move on me at turn 2 later in the race, and we're just lucky to get a good run in the last lap and get past him.
Were you mindful of that side draft?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these cars are renowned for, you feel it a lot. We've had that. I'm been on both sides of that many a time, so definitely as soon as I saw out his nose in front, I thought if I could get to his side door, he might pull me past him, and that's sort of what happens.
So the plan now is not to let him get that close, or?
Oh, that's always the plan. It just doesn't work out that way, unfortunately. He was just so fast that race. Like I said, got me towards the end, and if things went differently, could have easily won that race. So.
Oh, well, we wish you all the best for tomorrow, and hopefully we get some more exciting HQ racing.
Thanks for that. Looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, we'll be back in about half an hour's time with what will be the rest of the Trophy Tour program for day 1 of round 1.
back in.
I think it can't decide what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Sunny, cloudy, windy.
Well, the afternoon sessions or races for round one of the Motorsport Australia Trophy Tour is about to be underway, and it is the first race of a brand new season of Battery World Aussie racing cars for a 25-minute race that officially has already started. They go time certain, and so from the time they leave the pre-grid, the race is underway time-wise at least. So standing start, big field of 31 cars, and it's Cody Garland who was on pole in a brand new 888 Engineer Racing built chassis, the first to be delivered to Aussie racing cars, and he outpointed the two-time champion of the series over the last 2 years in Joel Heinrich by 0.189 of a second. Third fastest was Josh Anderson, ahead of Mason Harvey, then it's Reece Chapman, 6th spot Jack Boyd in the first of the Johnston Crail Enterprises Racing cars. Unfortunately, the second car came into the pits at qualifying, that's Ashley Johnston in 15th. Came back with the car on 3 cylinders. So they were a bit worried whether they'd actually make the race. So we'll just wait and see whether they have or not. In the meantime, car number 9 in 7th position, that's Ryan Reynolds from Chris Mercer. Brandon Madden is out of position 9, and Caleb Patterson makes up the top 10. Behind them in 11th, Cody McKay alongside Nathan Williams. Scott Dornan from South Australia is in 13th. 14th, Matt Gooding. Then there's followed Johnson if he's made the start, and Scott O'Keefe is scheduled to start alongside of him. And it's Andrew Cornish, Craig Thompson, Brett Osborne, who we've seen just win the HQ race. He's out of position 19, and Hayden Nissen is out of 20th. 21st is Shane Mann, Jeff Waters out of 22. Then it's David Macon, Grant Thompson, that's a brother of Craig, out of 24 for Western Sydney Motorsport. Kyle Lovering out of 25, Dennis Butler out of 26, Alistair Koenig, Troy Jones, Emma Clark, Leighton McKechnie and Andrew Hamilton round out the field. So pole position is a good start for Cody Garland. I think it was about 2020. He was leading the series after 3 rounds, and unfortunately it was called off due to COVID. So it will be something of retribution if he could win the series. But up for a three-peat, of course, is Joel Heinrich, who's also doing quite well in the Trans Am series, in a whole different kettle of fish as far as driving cars with that big Chef Camaro. But here he's in a Mustang-bodied Aussie racing car, and Mustang-bodied cars occupy the front row with Anderson in the pink machine in a Camaro. So there is a couple of different body styles. There is also the Orion, which is a Toyota-based shape. There's also the Ultima, which is a Nissan-based shape, and the Euro GT, which is based on a C63 Mercedes, although they can't use that name. So they're all lined up. We're not far off the start for what will be the first of 4 races here this afternoon, the first of 2 for Aussie racing cars, brought to you by Battery World, who've been a long-time supporter of the category. And you'll have to excuse us. It takes a little while to line them all up with 31 cars on the grid. And just seeing if we can see Johnston there or not. Can't quite make it out on this shot that we've got. So last car's forming up. There'll be a green, there'll be a 1 minute board. The green flag. Just about ready to start. And away they go, and it's a great start by Heinrich, who gets the jump on Garland in the run to the first corner, and it'll be Joel Heinrich who'll lead the way from Garland in second position. I think it may have been Harvey that got up the third. It is Mason Harvey in fourth, although someone's come down the outside to take that position away, or tried to take that position away, wasn't able to do it. So the top four qualifying are the top four in the pecking order, but not necessarily in the order. Jack Boyd has picked up a spot, he's up to fifth. The car's six for Boyd, out of the same starting position. So it's Garland in second spot at the moment, and already one in trouble. That's Craig Thompson in the Thrifty Car Rentals Western Motorsport entry. The bonnet's half hanging off it, so that's probably the only problem, and it can't drive over the top of it. So unfortunate for him. Anderson got a little bit out of shape out of turn 7, but holds position. That car stopped in the first session yesterday with a flat battery, but they managed to get started again, and he's actually dropped the spot there too. So out of the top corner to complete the first lap, it'll be Heinrich leading from Garland. Chapman lost out the third. He was third for a while, but he's now back to fourth behind Harvey, Anderson, Boyd, Madden, Reynolds, Patterson and Mercer make up the top 10. Just out of the 10, McKay, Dorman, Williams, Gooding, O'Keefe, Osborne up to 16 from 19th starting position. Cornish, Nissan, Waters and Grant Thompson make up our top 20. And it appears Asher Johnston looks like he made the start but hasn't gone anywhere through completing the first lap. So dramas for that car. Meantime, it's still Heinrich in front, showing the way from Garland, Harvey. Attempted move there by Dornan to pick up a spot. Behind Cody McKay, so it was McKay he was trying to get by. '95 goes through turn 8, that's Nathan Williams. He's been around in the category, been up towards the front in the past. Currently running in 13th. Dornan picked up spots from the start. Very well behaved through the first 2 laps of this race. So 2 laps down, Harvey in third still behind Heinrich and Garland. 0.8 of a second splits the first 2 with another half second back to Harvey in third. Dennis Chapman, Anderson, Boyd, Madden, formerly a HQ driver out of Queensland. He's done a bit of saloon cars as well, but more recently concentrated on Aussie racing cars. He leads Reynolds, Patterson, Mercer, McKay, Dornan, Williams. They're our top 13. Gooding, Osborne picks up another spot, goes to 15th. Move there. Might be problems for Anderson. He's slowed coming out of into turn 6 and out of turn 6. So Cornish Motorsport Camaro in dramas now. Flat battery yesterday. I wonder if they're having the same problem today. Alternator related, perhaps. That's causing the battery to go flat. But unfortunately, after qualifying third, he's out of the first race. Makes life difficult because you could have come from the back in race 2 later today. He's pulled up out of turn 6, hopefully in a fairly safe area that won't be a necessity to call a safety car. So revised order at the end of the lap. Heinrich, Garling, Harvey, Chapman, Anderson's gone. So Boyd moves up a spot. Madden, Reynolds, Patterson, Mercer. Then it's McKay, Dornan, Williams, Gooding, Osborne again. Up to another spot, the 14th, courtesy of that retirement. Sorts of action going on further back in the field. This group headed by Dennis Butler. This is way back towards the rear of the grid, 20th. So Butler's actually picked up quite a few spots. He started out at 26th, now 20th. And he currently leads a group that includes Nissan, Koenig, Macon, Mann, Emma Clark, who's been around for a while, but most of the others in that group are all very new to Aussie racing cars. Not names that are easily recognisable to the people that have followed the sport for quite some time. So we're on the 4th lap and we're almost up to the halfway distance of this timed race. Meanwhile, back to the front, top 3 have got a little bit of a margin. That's Heinrich, Garling and Harvey. On 4th place Chapman, and then there's a fair margin back to Boyd, who has been chased by Madden. Madden had a bit of a look to see if he can get past at turn 1, wasn't close enough. Reynolds and Patterson, McKay and Mercer, our top 10. So fastest rookie at the moment would be Patterson. He's in 8th position. And another one with dramas. Pulling off after turn 2, car 57. That's Brandon Madden. Qualified 9th and was running higher, but unfortunately TFHI Services Mustang driver is out. Climbing from the car. He's a fair way off the track, so he should be fairly safe there. Was in a Camaro last year from memory. Now jumped over to the Pony brand. And unfortunately out of this one. Well, again, we've got a revision of our order because of that. Heinrich still leads. The gap is 9/10 of a second at the moment. He's unclipping and having a bit of a look about what the problem is. A little bit of smoke coming from it, so hopefully that's not a fire. And he's having a look under the engine compartment of that vehicle. Heinrich's actually managed to pull a fair bit of a gap now on Garland and Chapman. Beg your pardon, on Harvey in 3rd. And then that gap back to Chapman in 4th spot. Boyd up a spot now with 5th position. And as I said, Madden tried to make a move on him on the previous lap of turn 1, but unfortunately it was a bit more costly than he would have reckoned on. So Heinrich again has shown why he's so good in these cars. He's out in front, he's pulled a bit of a gap, and he's left Garland and Harvey to fight it out for 2nd position now. These have all been the strong contenders out of 2024, and it's appearing as though they will be in 2025. And we've called safety car, so this will negate the pace and close everyone up. And there's another car that's lost its front clip. I'd love to tell you the number, but it's not there to be seen anywhere. And that car's fair way down the order. It is one of the Mustang bodied cars. I wonder if there was could have been an incident with Craig Thompson early on, perhaps. It's caused because he had a front clip problem as well. So now we're under safety car. So basically with 15 minutes of running already, bit unfortunate. It shouldn't take too long to get that car because it is at turn 3 and there is a back entrance to the pits at turn 4. So hopefully this won't take too long to sort through. Update on the running order. Heinrich leads the way from Garland with Harvey in third, Chapman, Boyd, Reynolds, Patterson, McKay, Dornan, Williams in 10th. Then it's Mercer, Gooding, Cornish, Osborne, O'Keefe, Grant Thompson in 16th, Waters, Loving in 18th, Nissan, Macon rounding out our 20th. Then it's Butler, Mann, Koenig, Clark, Jones and McKechnie. Hamilton follows, and unfortunately the remaining 4, Johnston, Madden, Anderson and Thompson are all not continuing. So there's no concern with the ambulance people being there. That's just mandatory that they would check out that situation and make sure there was no drama, and Brandon Madden standing up on the wall there, indicating that he is quite okay. So these cars get quite warm. They usually have fans on them for a period of time after the race, and if you're ever down in the pit area where these cars are, it's quite warm in the pits from all the engine heat. They are water cooled these days. They were air cooled initially, those Yamaha engines, but they are now water cooled. And it's been quite a successful series. Started by Phil Ward initially in 1996, and it actually raced their rounds back then with superbikes, which they are doing superbike rounds this year as well. They did last year. 2003 became an official support category to supercars and has been on and off various Motorsport Australia programs across those years. Next round of the championship will be at Symmons Plains in Tasmania in May, followed by Carco.com or Wanneroo to those that don't know any better, in June 6 to 8. Then they join the SRO series at Sandown on July 25 to 27. Across to the Bend for September 12-14. One raceway with the bikes on October 3 to 5, and finishing up at the Adelaide 500 in November 27 to 30. So we look like we're almost ready to get back underway. They actually have a restart 2x2, whereas opposed to most other categories, it's single line restart. And green flag waves, and away we go. And of course, Heinrich still controls what happens there, and as a result, it's allowed Harvey to get to second position off the restart. And Garland comes back though and gets that spot back before turn 3. So it was a short left run. Heinrich in front, Garland second, Harvey in third, Anderson, Boyd the next 2 through, followed by the rookie Patterson in position 6, Dornan 7th. He's had a great restart ahead of McKay, Mercer and Gooding now rounds out of 10, Osborne up to 11th, Cornish, O'Keefe, Grant Thompson, Nissan, Williams in 16th, so he's been a bit of a loser out of this restart. Macon, Lovering, Waters and Butler round out our top 20. 5 minutes of this race left to go, and Heinrich continues to lead. stage. Well, top 4 at least are starting to break away. And then we've got another group of 4, maybe 5. And so after that, I think Osborne in 11th is leading the next group. Actually, he's up to 10th. Grant Thompson looking for a way past there. One of his riders at turn 10. Car 37 trying to make a move up the inside of one of his rivals out of 2. And I don't think he actually managed to pull it off. Very tight at the front, 2/10 of a second. Heinrich over Garland with a similar margin to Harvey. About 4/10 of a second back to Chapman, and about 1.4 to Boyd. So we've got another slowing car. That's the number 28, and he's actually pulling right out of the way. That's Caleb Patterson, who has our leading rookie. Unfortunately, he's pulled off at turn 8. So, unfortunately for him, that would have been a great result for the rookie. That leaves Loving as our top rookie, just ahead of Nissan, and they're currently in 15th and 16th positions. So still very close in the top 4. Now, Boyd's actually been able to break away from the group that he was heading before. So he's cleared Dawn and McKay Mercer. Osborne continues his climb forward from 19th on the grid to start with. He's now 9th. Interesting to note too that the Madden car's still there, so the safety car probably wasn't for him, or else I would have brought that car back to the pits. There must have been another incident somewhere that we haven't seen. But Osborne hasn't been able to get away. Heinrich hasn't been able to get away in the Osborne Transports Mustang from the MTA in New South Wales Mustang of Garland. And likewise, Harvey has stuck with him as well. Very close behind. A 3-bridge entry. Chapman holds down 4th spot. So we've got Mustang body cars in the top 4 positions. Boyd in 5th. Now, McKay, Garland had a bit of a look at getting past Heinrich at turn 11. Ducked down the inside, wasn't quite close enough to pull it off. Pulls back in behind. So he's quite serious about trying to get back to the lead if he can, which he hasn't had since the start, although he was the fastest qualifier. And it's allowed Chapman to stick with him as well. So these 4 well and truly in for a chance to win this race. There's just under a minute of the race to go. It's Heinrich leading, Garland 2nd, Harvey 3rd, and Chapman in 4th spot. They thread their way through turn 4, line astern, and Heinrich had a little bit of a tail wag coming out of 4, heading to 5. They come up over the top of the hill, and he runs a little bit wide out of 5. It holds the lead, and Garland had a big go, had a brake lock up into 6, and that's cost him a little bit of time, possibly any chance of making another attack on this lap. And whether or not we get another one after this, I'm not sure. And Garland runs a little bit wide out of turn 8 as well, and it's allowed Harvey and Chapman to get right on, particularly Harvey, right on the back of him as they come up to the final set of corners. Heinrich leads though as they come through that corner. I'm not sure whether this will be the checkered flag lap. It looks like it is. The checkered flag is out, and Joel Heinrich will kick off his 2025 season in Battery World's Aussie Racing Cars with another win. Garland gets second, and Mason Harvey comes across the line in third, just in front of Reece Chapman, with Jack Boyd into fifth, Scott Dornan in the sixth, Cody McKay in the second, in the seventh. Then it's number 19 of Chris Mercer into ninth, and Andrew Cornish rounds out our top 10 behind Brett Osborne, probably the driver of the day to pick up 10 positions. Gooding is in 11th, O'Keefe in 12th, then it's Grant Thompson in 13th, Macon, Nissen, Bartlett, Lowering, Waters, Clark, and Connick round out to 20. After them, it's Marin, Jones, Hamilton. Nathan Williams obviously had some dramas to finish in 24th. McKechnie in 25th. Johnston was classified a winner, so he must have went out late. That's all I can assume there. In 26th position, Patterson, Reynolds, Madden, Anderson, and Thompson were the non-finishers. Yeah. All right, we'll try and catch up with the winners, and if not, we'll be back for the first race in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Australia Toyota 86 Scholarship Series, which will be their first race of second round. Well, it's a huge field of Toyota Gazoo Racing Australia Scholarship Series cars here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the second round of the series. First race this afternoon, a 20-minute race. And when I say a huge field, they had 39 at Phillip Island. They've surpassed that. They've got 41 here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And just having a quick look at the grid before they start this one. Qualifying was held in two parts, with the slower 50% out early and followed by the fastest 50% after that. Now, out of all that, it was Alice Buckley in the Castrol AC Delco entry that was fastest, ahead of Charlie Parker, that's the grandson of Greg Crick, in position 2. Jake Schwerskitz was out of position 3. He was the fastest qualifier down at Phillip Island. Jordan Freestone, who's the series leader after the first round and running out of Cedars Racing, the first of their 4 cars, was in position 4. And then we've got Oliver Wickham, Ruben Dan, the second of the Cedars Racing team cars, out of position 6. Zane Rinaldi, who we've seen race in Scholarship Series and GR Cup previously, as similarly so to Buckley, who's doing both. He's out of position 7. Byron Lulu for 99 Motorsport, the first of their cars, out of position 8. Pip Casabine, 9. And Liam Jurgis out of 10. Will Longmore, who was one of the front runners down at Phillip Island the previous round, he's out of 11. Anthony Capobianco is next, followed by Ashton Caddick. Tyler Cheney, whose dad this weekend is racing in Trans Am down at Simmons Plains. So Tyler's been left on his own up here. I think he missed the first round because his father Graham was racing at Winton that weekend. Salvatore Imbrogno is out of 15. Ben Halliday, James Siddlin out of 17. Kay Davey, who is from Team Racing Together, is out of 18. Roman Nasser, the first of the Racing Academy drivers, is out of 19. And Hay Bartlam is out of position 20. Right, well, they're all lined up, and we've got a green flag at the back. Red lights are on, and we're ready to go. Front row get away, and it was Parker who was the best of the 2 off the line and takes the immediate lead as they head down to turn 1. Parker's got a good size gap too, as Buckley now under pressure from the 2 on the second row. Schwertzkopf and Freestone in the run down towards turn 2, and there's all sorts of not pushing, but juggling for positions back in the midst of all this. Wait for them to come out of the turn and settle down a little bit. There's Rinaldi in the 155 on the outside of Dan as they go across the top of the tunnel, and they still run side by side as they get out of turn 4, and now Rinaldi will have the inside running, take that position. Just behind them in the 49 is Capo Bianco, who's picked up a couple of spots off the start. At least 1, at least 2 or 3 actually. He's picked up a lot of spots, had a great start. So they'll run up over the rise towards turn 6. And then the leaders in the meantime are out 7. Buckley goes a little bit wide, and as does Rinaldi. Lucky that they've got that concrete area off the other side of the yellow line, or else there was a bit of a ditch formed there. I think back when S5000 were running, and of course quite a bit of heartache for those guys back then. Some more chops and changes, or attempted chops and changes. There's a 9 car with blue. For Double 9 Motorsport, that's the group run by Marcus de la Salle. And they make their way down the straight there, and using the slipstream as best they can and trying to push through on the inside. As they went out of camera shot was one that looked a bit tight, but they all came through unscathed, and we went through a whole session yesterday without an incident. The only incident all weekend was to Tyler Kaleja in practice 1 yesterday. Hit the wall coming out of turn 8, unfortunately, but they managed to fix that car overnight, and he's back up and qualified this morning and qualified in position 35. 38 going through the corner. We'll look down a fair way of this field to see some of these cars. That was Cheney, Tyler Cheney on the outside, trying to get the run up to turn 5, which will give him the inside running. 3 wide, back in the pack further. Capo Bianco attempting to make a move on Lutelu. Wasn't to happen. Meantime, it's still Parker out in front. And that was Ben Holiday in the number 9 going through. Started out of 16th, has picked up 3 positions in the first couple of laps. Quicker than what it should, and he's picked up a spot. It was just a brush pass really for that position. It's so many cars, but it's Parker in front, Buckley in second. The gap between the two of them is only 0.3 of a second. Then it's Freestone, Scherska, Wickham, Burgess, Rinaldi, Dan in 8th, Longmore 9th, Cheney 10th, Lou in 11th, Capo Bianco 12th, Halliday in 13th, Horton 14th, Paddock, Davey, that's the Racing Together team from backed by Norwell Motorplex in Queensland. It's Paul Morris and co, but unfortunately for the team there that they're down in Tasmania, so they've had to bring in a couple of standby people to help out there, and I did notice some people down there, the likes of Roland Dane and Declan Fraser, and certainly a few others there that are well known around the Norwell complex and always helping out, getting involved. Brady Kostecki, another that was casting an eye over some of the people they're sort of looking after and mentoring this weekend. So the race continues. It's almost midway through as I speak. It's been fast, it's been clean so far. Leo Inanella in the car 6 there coming through the top part of the track. He's currently running in 24th. That's 2 positions up from where he started as well. So far everyone is still running. It's always very handy. Another interesting runner in there, the 68, which is Max Walton. I believe it's the son of Chris Walton. When I say clean running, the 43 has got some damage. A little bit of nose to tail there with someone, I suspect. But Max Walton is a KA2 Australian car champion. And there's been an incident there where Dan has been helped around. There's a fair bit of damage on the road. Hopefully he can get going. And it was touch up with Rinaldi. And Rinaldi's got damage on the front of his car. So I don't think he'll be able to run as Lua tries to find a way through there. That tyre rub won't last too long because they're all metal. They're not carbon parts. They're actually full metal, and he's basically, well, he'll get pushed out of the way if he doesn't get out of the way. And there's a whole group of cars itching to get past, and you can see that's going to happen. So might be a bit of toe in on that left front wheel of that car as well. So hard luck for Rinaldi, who probably didn't have the luck he deserved in the PR Cup last year. Certainly was a very strong XL performer in the past. Starting to get a little bit wild towards the back of the field there as well. We've seen him come down straight, and I think that's Will Longmore's carrying some damage as well. That's 84. So there has been a bit go on, basically unsighted by some of us. And that's Kay Davey in the Racing Together entry, and I believe that Roland Dane is on the headset for him this weekend. And if that's true, he's just coached him past one of his rivals, although that rival, which is Rinaldi, no doubt tell him to get out of the way because he's coming through. In the meantime, that's allowed Ashton Cadder to sneak up the inside, and they'll run 3 wide. And actually Davey's in a bit of an awkward situation here because he is being, I think, held up a little bit, but he does get a bit of a run out of that corner, and unfortunately not close enough, but he's kept position as the 17 moves in there as well. That's in Brogno. Picks up the spots as well. So it's Parker still leading, Buckley in second, Freestone, Schwerskopf, then it's Wickham, Jurgis, Cheney, Longmore in 8th with that damage, Letlew in 9th, and Halliday rounds out of 10. But we're looking here at positions 13 back, and that's chopping and changing because of the situation where Rinaldi just tries to salvage something out of this, and with damage, and another move there. That was, I think that was NASA trying to make a move on Cadec, and NASA the leading. Oh, and we've seen a change position for second there as well. It appears as though Freestone has moved up a spot, hence why he leads the series. So he's passed Buckley down at turn 1, holds that position now. Buckley will have to be careful because Schwerskopf is the next one. And as I said, there are more incidents going on here, and it's caused Cadec to turn around. As there was a bit of a 3 into 1 wasn't going to work. He was on the outside and got the short back inside out of that one. Number 2 having a good battle there is the 88. And oh, there's one stopped in the middle of the track further up as well. That's the 18. Just trying to see who that is on our timing. That's Ashton Cedars. That's the son of Dave Cedars. The third of the cars they're running this weekend, 3 or 4. I think, trying to remember who the last one is, but they're running 4 cars this weekend. And now we see Will Longmore under pressure from Tyler Cheney and Lure and Liam Jurgis in behind there as well. So there's still plenty of action going on. We've still got 4.5 minutes of this race to go. Replay of that incident that spun Cadec around. He stopped there. Oh, there's another one up the road. That was what we did see. That was the number 18 car that spun out up there. So that was Ashton Cedars. Unfortunately not involved in the same incident, but something separate, but less than 10 metres away from where that one happened. Judges makes a move on Louis and holds that spot. And in behind him is Halliday making inroads as well. now under some sort of pressure from the 999 and the number 9, and those two are just swap spots. So Halliday moves himself up into 9th position, so they're battling for 8th, 9th and 10th, and actually it's allowed Litlu to get away a little bit. Jurges to get away a little bit from Litlu, although now we'll concentrate on trying to run him down in the time remaining. But it looks like they've taken a bit of time out of this race as well, because the timing's now telling us we've only got 2.5 minutes left. And Rinaldi's still under fire from all angles there. It's a 64 in behind him, trying to find a way past. That's Taylor Heffron. And immediately behind them is McAfee and Dempleweek, the second of the Racing Academy entries. 2 of them there this weekend. NASA in the first one. Those 2 ran here at a Motor Racing Australia series meeting in the Enduro, just to get some miles in before they knew they had to come back in. It was just before the Phillip Island round, so probably put them in pretty good stead. Now the smoke coming out of Rinaldi's car appears to be coming from the opposite side of where it was originally, so whether he's had another bit of a hit, I'm not sure, or he's now going to concede that spot to Heffron at least. So that's unfortunate for Rinaldi, who now finds himself back in 18th position. It's been a tough old run for him, and now we can see 99, that's McAfee making a run on him as well, and likely to get past. Watch him as they come out of behind Corporate Hill, and he has got past him. The next one on the list there will be Dempleweek. He'll be keen to get past as well. 49 and 71 having a good dice as well. That's Capo Bianco and Craig Fortin. Now Craig Fortin started this race out of 21st. He's made up quite a few spots, up to 12th at the moment. They're 11 from 12th on the road. A good run, but mind you, with all the action that's been going on, it's probably unsurprising. So Parker's lead is out to over 1.5 seconds over Freestone. Buckley third, Scherskopf in 4th, then it's Wickham, Longmore, Cheney, Halliday, Burgess, and Litlu making up the 10, Capo Bianco and Fortin the next 2, Davies up to 13th, now still where he qualified. Did qualify further back than that, so it's been a good run. Qualified 18th, and damage here unfortunately for Dempleweek. That's huge damage to the front of that car, and I think they'll flag this at the end of this lap. And he was in a battle there. Now they're running to the flag. I dare say it's the last lap. Buckley's going to try and get that spot back off Freestone. They come out of the corner. Meanwhile, Charlie Parker out in front will score his first race win in the Toyota Series. He's well clear as they come out of that last corner. Still very close to second and third. And the checkered flag should be out on this one. Checkered flag out. So Charlie Parker will pick up his first win, and a commanding performance in the end from the Tasmanian to take the win from Jordan Freestone, with Alice Buckley in third. 4th spot will go to Oliver Wickham, just in front of Jack Scherskopf, who dropped a spot there towards the end. Will Longboard, Tyler Cheney, Halliday, Litlu got ahead of Jurgis before they got to the checkered flag. Then it's Capo Bianco, Fortin, Davey, Nasser, Imbrogno, Walton, Heffron, and a hell of a lot more cars, but we can't get down that far in the time we've got. We're going to take a break. We're next back up with the first race of the Advanced Car Carriers Sports Sedans. That's due to start at 10 past 2, and I dare say that's going to be running a little bit late at this stage, given the clean-up that we're going to have. And that was an incident where he got turned around a little bit by one. I didn't see who that was, and then got a hefty hit from another who had nowhere else to go. No doubt that'll be sorted out after the race with the driver's standings officer Steve Johnson, and probably some advice there from Dave Wall, who's filling in for Steve Owen this weekend, who's off crook, and we wish him all the best if he's happened to be watching what's going on. One race over in the second round of the Toyota Gazoo Racing Australia series here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And Charlie Parker, you've come up a winner.
Yeah, about time. We were pretty unlucky at Phillip Island. I'm pretty excited to get it done here today.
The start was all in the start, was it?
Yeah, I had a really good start, and then there was a couple of quick guys coming back through, so they started racing, which kind of gave me a bit of a gap, which might have saved me, but we were okay. So we felt pretty comfortable today.
And how did your grandfather, Greg Crick, welcome you when you got back?
He said, about time, mate.
He doesn't lavish praise very easy, does he?
No, he was excited. It's cool. It's really cool. We've been working hard to get it done, and yeah, I feel very relieved to have it finally happen, so it's awesome.
Well, good luck with the rest of the meeting. We hope you can keep going at the front.
Thank you, so do I.
Taunton and Shootout racing small cars.
All right, we're just about to have a rolling start here for the first round of the new season of sports sedans here at Sydney Motorsport Park. And it's Daniel Tomasi leads from... So head down towards the first corner. So Tomasi in front, Shields in second. Then it's Lacey Jarvis up the inside of Jeff Taunton into turn two. Nick Smith, the next one. Mark Duggan making his way through, but then gets pushed back a bit. Like he had a bit of a slow run out of that corner. I got Chris Neal with me to talk us through a bit of this, talk about what's been happening obviously since qualifying. We know that Tomasi for this round, Chris. Oh, and Duggan's off into the wall. That'll breed a safety car, unfortunately. Doesn't look too bad, but certainly got a bit of a shame there because they did an engine change overnight. They have, and he's got it going again, so it doesn't look like it's damaged at all. So he's going to be able to keep running. Oh, and we've got Glenn Pro off as well on this first lap. He was out of turn 6 by the look of it. So Tomasi leads, Shields in second now. We know that the Fiat, with its rotary turbo, has had lots of fuel problems. they did a whole build of that fuel system over the Christmas break, and hopefully the reliability's there. And I noticed that Steve Lacey's in third. And here's another interesting story. Lacey and Taunton have swapped cars. So what was Taunton's green car last year is now Lacey's red car, and vice versa. And in between them is Ash Jarvis, who's running the Colin Smith entry, the Monaro Chev. So the IRC cars are running, they were running. it almost changed there with Jarvis putting the pressure on Lacey. And he's in a bit of a sandwich at the moment, so we get a replay of the Duggan going off. Yeah, just a little bit too much wheel spin out of turn 4, and is maybe the engine wasn't used to it. Now Jarvis has a look at Lacey at turn 6, gets the job done. So he's picked up a spot. Nick Smith now flies into the target. He did a 31 yesterday, so they were pretty happy with that turbo Nissan powered Mazda RX-7. Of course, with these space frame cars, engine and body don't actually match in a lot of occasions, do they? In the Mark car, putting some pressure on Chris Jackson in the Chev-powered Calibra. Car dates back quite a few years, New South Wales. Of course, Chris, your home base is in Victoria, isn't it? Well, it can happen. Don't go away real quick today. So here's Mick Rowell in the IRC GT ahead of the two we've just been talking about. So while Rowell's and Mantikos' cars look similar, as these two cars from Mark Cars Australia, even though they're IRC cars, they're differently powered. These cars run LS engines, and Mantikos has the Coyote engine in his car, which was before they moved. Before Mark Cars became IRC. But Mark Cars is still owned by Jeff Taunton as an entry and as a business, and they're running IRC cars. In this case, the change has been made so Jeff can use that green car, which was once red, as a dual purpose car, as a sports sedan and as a IRC series entry. Nick Smith in the Mazda will. Everyone within the sports sedan ranks and outside it always wanted to see this car do well. He's had a couple of fires in it, which has been a real shame. That's put him on the back foot, but it's great to see that it's like it's punching up in front of the wheel. Yeah, and in that car, so he's persevered with it, and certainly starting to get some good result. While this particular one getting a reasonable result. Front of the field, Tomasi's got a 5.9 second lead over Shields. Now, Steve was telling me yesterday that they adopted a new setup strategy, well, a mechanism to do it. So it's a lot easier to change and make finite changes within it by the way that they've set the whole thing up. So obviously that's working this weekend. And watching that car out of turn 8 yesterday, it was a jet. Original configuration, certainly nothing like it now. It was built by Mark Stinson and raced in New South Wales and Australia many years ago, but you ask either Daniel or Steve these days, but the only common thing in now is the roof. I think he has a great affinity with the category, and he raced in a long time. And then we just seen a move by Smith on Taunton at turn 2. So Nick Smith has now moved up to position 5 behind Lacey. Lacey will be the next one he'll target, no doubt. And the lead now is out there 7.8 seconds with Tomasi over Shields. Jarvis in 30, be very happy with that. Mind you, getting to stop talking about it might be a bit of a problem. He does like a chat, he and his dad. And of course, they're running a car in the Toyota series as well. So two fields to look after, or two different cars to complete to work on this weekend. And just looking at the times here, at the moment, Nick Smith is about a tenth slower per sector than Lacey, but that may change going lap to lap. We're coming up to complete the 5th lap, and so far we've got away without any problems. Just talking to see where Mark Duggan is. He's currently in 15th position and still circulating. And Nick's unfortunately pulled into the pits. When it was all going so well, you see what happens when you talk people up in the commentary box. Yes, it certainly is. So that drops him unfortunately out of it. Moves Chris Jackson up, or Ed Taunton up a spot as well. So Jeff Taunton, who we know last year was winning races. He hasn't got the same amount of power as he had last year because of the dual purpose of the car that he's running. And this battle continues between Mantikos and Jackson, and they of course run in state level as well, so there's probably a good chance that they will do the whole New South Wales series. Whether they do the Australian series, I'm not too sure, but the whole fraternity has jumped out to thank and advance the car carriers for their support this year. Cameron McKee, who's proprietor of that business, is building a new sports sedan, I believe. Well, he's well, I would assume that Brad Shields, Steve Lacey, maybe Jeff Taunton, Chris Jackson, Nick Mantikos, Matt Sims, I don't think he is. Glenn Pro certainly is. Theo Camburis, Mick Rowell perhaps, Darren Sallard, who's in that almost production car, I guess. So whose car's he bought? Yeah, but whose car is? Oh, the 5.7 litre Chev powered car. Yeah, cool. Because Darren ran in series years ago now, the Starion. He's had a couple of things over the years. So he's been around. And we see Mantikos, once he got past Jackson, is starting to move away. And as I said, one of the original Mark cars, that one, Coyote powered. And that car can run in production sports in New South Wales as well as sports sedans, and it can run in the IRC series as well. So they've opened the door up in that series for former trophy sports cars, and obviously the Porsches are involved in that. He's up from Victoria as well. Oh, okay. quite a few Victorians come up to the white races. Well, actually, Jarvis now got a hold off Lacey, and they've just put a lap on Harwood at the same time. So now this is getting a little bit more intense, as you can see. And Ash should be over the moon if he can hold off these two IRC cars behind him. And unfortunately, Mark Duggan's had another spin. And that was at turn 8. Unfortunately, hasn't spun off into anything and been able to get going again. So he'll probably be doing state and national championship. And I believe he's taking the car up to Darwin to run in combined sedans, because Duggan Family Hotels sponsor the Touring Car Masters, and he's involved in a couple of cars in that series. So thought, why not take the third car up and run in combined sedans, which I imagine he would demolish. Yeah, and Brad Shields is just putting down a lap. So he's done the right thing, not challenging those guys at the moment. And his final race at Bathurst last year, he was really on the money and finished third, I think, in that last race. So he was very quick. It's taken a while to come to grips with that car, but certainly in the end, it seems to be working. Just this week, this meeting hasn't been quite so far. Still got 2 races tomorrow. And he'll only be off the back of the grid, so it's not as though he's going to be down that laps or anything.
Jarvis in that owned by Warren Smith, used to be piloted by son Colin, who's also here crewing on the car. And Ashes, I would say, would be the only driver in the field and possibly at the whole meeting that's run at Daytona.
Yes, for winning in TA2 series, the second winner of that series after the initial series. And the prize for winning that was a race in TA2 in the US, which I think he finished 6th or something.
Not sure on positions, but he won the prize, but he still had to weigh in a few dollars to complete the journey.
Probably, there's your entry pages. And here's Jeff Taunton going through, and we've seen the other car, the one in front of him, was the car that Cameron McLeod won the Gold Coast round in 2023 in. This race still goes.
Coloured the same way, Gary.
Well, he was in the red car, but
in the red.
It's confusing. And now, speaking of which, the red car actually has found a way to get past Jarvis. Towards the end of this one, we are down. Well, we've still got 7 minutes to go. The IRC and Mark Cars have been, they've brought a new level to sports sedans in some respects. How fast they are, what they're like, for something that you can buy as a running proposition.
Whereas so many sports sedans are the shed-built one-offs that appeals. It's, as much as anything else, it's an engineering category.
Indeed, but unfortunately, if you have incidents, you can't just borrow bits off another car. Whereas with IRC cars, you can.
Big advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And here's Jeff Taunton. Just went in under, but then forgot about the braking marker and has thrown it wide. And I think Ash might have seen him coming at the last minute and thought, I'll just buy out of this and let him go. But whether Ash is having some problems with tyres going off or what, he doesn't seem to have the same pace he's had earlier. We aren't seeing much of Steve Tomasi, and neither is the rest of the field at this stage, because he's 12 seconds ahead of Brad Shields, who will be just happy to get a result, because that car's been so quick and yet had dramas. But and I was talking to Joe Sett this morning, and he fingers crossed, legs crossed, everything crossed, and it's all coming together. And so far it's been really good. So here's Taunton will have another shot at Jarvis here at turn 2. This time he'll be able to pull it off, and then just slow it on the exit a little bit, just to make sure he can't slip up the inside here. And there's unfortunately the Aston Martin of Mark Duggan, Chef powered car in the pits. So might have had a little bit of a drama when he touched the wall that might have caused some more problems in the rear end of that car. As you said earlier, it had an engine change yesterday. They said the oil pressure was just fluttering on that new motor, so they thought best thing to do is take it out. They didn't know whether it was computer related or not. They had a quick check of it and they thought, well, best to take it out and we'll just run with the other motor for this meeting and check the other one out in the dyno, I guess.
Jeff, about half an hour before the race started, having a chat to him, and he said they're conceding weight and horsepower to the two front runners, being Tomasi and Shields. In Joe Sett, who's the leader of Dad's Army up here in New Zealand. Have a look at his team.
Who's the leader in Victoria?
Chaz Talbot.
No, not you.
No. Chaz still racing. Chaz was racing back in the 70s in Formula 5000.
He was, yeah.
Which he still has. He's got his Sport Sedan Camaro, which he's had for a while. And he's been Dad's Army down there for a couple of years. And now Joe Sett and his crew have got the title up here.
Ah, yes. Once you're in some of these categories, you're there for life.
Well, that's me.
Okay, so now this is Mick Rowell in the IRC car and Nick Mantikos. Oh, and he's just had a lose and a big crash into the wall. That's unfortunate. He just picked up position. I was just going to compare those two Mustang body cars that they are different power plants, different names, but that's indeed unfortunate. So we at least got a yellow flag out there, and I dare say we'll go full-blown safety car as a result. 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes left. I think they'll clear that up in time.
Such a shame because
just picked up a spot there.
Nick all weekend has had a smile on his face.
Yeah, well, Mick's was in 6th position. He just dropped back to 7th momentarily. It didn't last long, and they're going to check a flag this as they should. Yep. So as a result of that, it's Steve Tomasi who wins the opening race of the Sports Sedans National Series here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Second across the line will be Brad Shields, followed by Steve Lacey. Then it's Jeff Taunton. The next car isn't Theo Camburas. He's about to be lapped by Ash Jarvis, who will come across the line in 5th position.
Ash nicely hung back with thoughts for another competitor.
Well, it doesn't make a difference. He's lapped by the leaders anyway.
Yeah,
and there is Darren Sallard in that hire car for the weekend, that Mazda, coming across the line. So we're going to take a break, and thank you to Chris for coming along and having a bit of a chat to us while this was all going on.
If I could just send a special cheerio to your colleague down south, Mr. Darren Smith. I'm sure I'll get a critique from you.
I'll get a phone call later, thanks. All the best, thank you.
Race 1 of the 2025 National Sports Sedan Series just been won, and Steve Tomasi, you've dominated. You were fastest in qualifier and you led every lap.
Yeah, we're trying our hardest. Definitely not easy competition, even though it looks like I did that quite comfortably. The other guys behind me are well respected around here, being locals, and no, we're just keeping up the pace and just developing the car and trying as hard as we can.
Have you done a lot since last year with this car?
Not much. We're already pressed for time, and at the moment it's just been a good rinse and a repeat. And we started off last year with some bad luck in race 1, so hopefully this good luck stays with us for the rest of the year.
Well, you've got 2 more races to get through tomorrow. We wish you all the best.
Excellent, thanks.
Right, we're getting ready for race 2 of the opening round of the Battery World Aussie Racing Cars here at City Motorsport Park as part of the first round of the Motorsport Australia Trophy Tour. And this grid is formed off the result of race 1. So Joel Heinrich will start off pole with Cody Garland alongside of him. Mason Harvey and Reece Chapman on the second row. Jack Boyd and Scott Dornan on the third row. Then it's Cody McKay and Chris Mercer. Brett Osborne and Andrew Cornish will round out our top 10. Then it's Matt Gooding, Scott O'Keefe, Grant Thompson, Hayden Nissen, Dennis Butler, Kyle Lovering, Jeff Waters, Emma Clark, David Macon, Alistair Koenig, Shane Mann, Troy Jones, Andrew Hamilton, Nathan Williams, Leighton McKechnie and Asher Johnson were the finishers. So they'll start up into position 26. And the ones that didn't finish, if they begin this race, will be Caleb Patterson, Ryan Reynolds, Brandon Madden, Josh Anderson and Craig Thompson, who was the first to fall out of the earlier race with accident damage. This will be another 25-minute race, which has already started. We're down to just under 22 minutes already, and this will be the last race of the day before we come back tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll start the day with qualifying for supercarts, then we'll HQ Holden's Toyota 86 Cup, supercarts for their first race, Aussie Racing Cars for their third race, and of course it'll be a reverse top 10 start grid of the top 10 finishers here today. Sports sedans and supercarts will take us up to lunch break. Then in the afternoon, Aussie Racing Cars finish up their day with a fairly early finish, followed by supercarts, HQs, Toyotas, sports sedans and supercarts for the fourth and final race at the end of the day. Again, expected to be a fairly early finish around about 4 p.m. All live streamed, of course, through Blendline, through the various Blendline socials. So if you're interested, please catch up and keep an eye on how these pocket rockets at the moment are to go. So we're all ready to go for this, the last race of today, day 1 of the Trophy Tour. And away they go. Side in the dash to the first corner, Heinrich and Anderson around the outside, Chapman around the outside takes the early lead and will lead from Garland and Heinrich, although Heinrich will come back into turn 2. Can he get, I'll go side by side, and then it will be the next 2 points, drop the spot, he's back to 6th. And Garland does take second position, so it's Chapman the leader, Heinrich, Garland second, Heinrich third, then Harvey, Dornan, Boyd 6th, McKay, Osborne, Mercer, Gooding, Cornish, O'Keefe in 12th, Butler, Nissen, Lovering, Grant Thompson, Jeff Waters, Koenig, Anderson already up to position 19, so he started well back from there. He would have started out of 29th, I think, so that's been a great start for Anderson. All happening is back in the field there. There's Grant Thompson getting passed by some of the others as they head around the back of Corporate Hill. Reynolds is another good starter too. He's picked up several positions. Reynolds has moved himself to 21st and make that 18th. He's picked up a couple more spots. Two Thompson brothers, that's Grant Thompson in 78, Craig Thompson in the 72. So out of the top corner, a little bit wide there for Chapman, but he's got Garland and Heinrich right behind him. Then it's Dornan with Harvey now pulling out of the slipstream and taking that spot away from him. So Harvey moves to 4th position. Oh, 2 off into the big time into turn 1. Both Mustangs that I can see. Both managed to get underway but losing a lot of positions. And coming back onto the track now at turn 2. May have been a quick run down here in a minute. Garland, and we've had a change position out of our sight. Watch Grant Thompson go underneath Jeff Waters at turn 8. Craig Thompson about to follow him through by look at it back to see. I think that, yes, we do have a change position. Cody Garland takes the lead away on lap 2. And now Heinrich will line up to go through as well. Harvey has negated that gap to that top 3. He's right there as well. So the second lap, it's Garland leading, Chapman second, Heinrich third. And got really taily coming out of that corner, did Chapman, and he'll lose 2 spots, 1 spot maybe, 2 spots by the time they leave turn 2. And Chapman has gone from second going into turn 1 to 4th coming out of turn 2. But all this has done is allowed Garland to get away with the lead. He's up the road by around about 7/10 of a second at the moment. In the meantime, Dornan, Boyd, McKay, Mercer, the next one. Anderson to 9th. Now that they should try and work together, this group, to try and get to Garland. Garland at the moment is still 7 odd tenths away in front. Another good battle going on here in their midst. This is Dornan, Boyd and McKay. Dornan and Boyd should know each other reasonably well. They're both South Aussies. And we've got one stop. That's Anderson, I think. Stopped out of turn 6. Well, that's unfortunate. And another one spun as well. So hopefully he's been able to get that going. Meanwhile, Nissen in the pits in the 195. Brothers still going in the 250 cars there. Here's our leader. So that gap between Garland and Heinrich has gone to nothing, and we've got at least a yellow flag being waved at 6, or leading into 6. And that car's still stopped there, so I suspect that we'll have at least a local yellow. For some reason, that number 36 car, and we're going full safety car now. For some reason, that car 36 doesn't like turn 6. So safety car out on lap 4, which leaves us with Garland leading from Heinrich, with Harvey third spot. Then it's Chapman, followed by Dornan, and then Boyd, McKay, Mercer, Reynolds, and O'Keefe in 10th, Osborne in 11th, and Butler in 12th. Just checking back out now, Craig Thompson from the back's got himself up to 18th. Can't see whether, just trying to see where, if Asher Johnston got back out. It appears that he hasn't. Madden didn't make the start either, so drama's there for those two. So now we go certainly having some luck this weekend, but it's all bad. And unfortunately it does chew into this, but obviously the priority here is, if you can't win this race, to finish close as you can to 10th, obviously in front of 10th, to get the premier spot for race 3 tomorrow. And that'll start their day off. So very keen, I would imagine, to see who finishes 8th, 9th, 10th. At the moment, Ryan Reynolds has done an excellent job to get himself back up in there, and could even move further in the laps that have come. So we're going to be at least halfway through this race by the time this safety car is pulled. So they've got a bit of a gap now to the next meeting, which is with the supercars down at Tasmania on May 9-11, and then about a 4-week break to Carco.com Raceway, or Wanneroo, as we're probably more familiar with in Western Australia, on June 6-8. And we've got visits to Sandown, the Bend, One Raceway, and the season finishes at the LA 500. Okay, so they line up 2 by 2 for this restart. Very different to most other categories, which are single file restarts. Aussie racing cars do have 2 by 2. And I suspect that there's a drama for someone coming down the straight who's decided they're going to go to the pits instead. They are. That's unfortunate. So Garland will control the restart. And once the flag's waved or the green light's out, there he goes. So they're all off immediately. Harvey got an excellent start. He's third, but he's on the right side of the track to maybe pick up second off Heinrich as they go down to turn 2. Heinrich sticks to his guns on the outside though, and if he can hold that around, he will hold position. He and Harvey run side by side out of turn 2. Osborne managed to hold on, and he's got an inside run down to turn 3 on Garland, so they're going to run side by side through 3, which gives the advantage back to Garland at turn 4. But the wider line could help Heinrich's pace. Heinrich is followed through there by Harvey, and Chapman moves back up the inside. Will run side by side with Harvey. So it's on for young and old amongst this front group at the moment, with Garland managed to hold on just in front of Heinrich. Chapman going for the wide crossover line. No, he tries to go around the outside of Harvey down to turn 8. Didn't quite get it done there, but he might be in the right position to get by at turn 9 or 10, because he's got the nose of the car inside Harvey. Harvey runs a bit wide. Chapman comes back at him on the inside. Turn 11. Of action going on behind them as well, with Boyd and McKay, Boyd and Reynolds, Patterson there as well. I didn't notice that, but Patterson had picked up quite a few spots as well to be again the fastest leading rookie. More action going on back in the field here. Off at turn 2, didn't quite catch who that was, but decided that they would opt out of trying to get around that corner, and it's cost them a lot of spots. That's Reynolds in the number 9 car there. He followed deep behind Boyd, and that was Chapman who was off at turn 2. So they're seems to be a big toll mechanically at this meeting, more so than we've seen possibly normally as due to incidents so far. Garland leads, Heinrich, Harvey, Dornan, Boyd to 5th, Dennis Reynolds, Mercer, McKay, Patterson, Osborne 10th, O'Keefe and Williams. Now Williams has come from the back of the field as well to be 12th, Connick, Craig Thompson, Johnson, there he is in the field, he's up to 15th in the back. I guess his aim would be to try and get to 10th. If he got to 10th, he gets a front row start. Now we see a battle for the lead intensify. Heinrich taking the move and gets the job done down to turn 1. So Joel Heinrich now leads. And Garland tried to come back on the inside, then goes to the outside. So he's got a very good braking package on that Triple 8 engineering car. Started lap 8. And now Garland has got him back, got that spot back. Harvey in the mix as well, and those three have just jettisoned away from the field at this stage. It's a race of 3. We've got that back to Dornan, Boyd, Reynolds, the next trio of cars. So this is where the full race on at the moment. The race to win the second outing for the opening round of the Battery Worlds Aussie Racing Car Series. And Garland covers his line extremely well down to turn 8. You can see Joel Heinrich trying to make a move on the inside. He wouldn't let him do it. It'll be interesting down the straight, the 3 of them, as they go nose to tail out of turn 11. Can he do what he did the last time round? Make the move stick. No, Garland covers his line this time. He's not going to let him get away with it. And now he took the wide line into turn 1, which gives him the tight exit. So he can not allow Heinrich to move up the inside of him at turn 2. Although Joel didn't really have a go at him at that stage. Boyd is still behind Dorman, and Reynolds just behind him. So those 3 are the next group that are dicing for positions, and then it's Mercer, McKay, Patterson after them. So South Australians, Dornan and Boyd head that group. And we've got the next group of 3. So we've got the top 9 positions are divided into 3 lots of 3, with Osborne 10th, just clear of Williams and O'Keefe. Williams and O'Keefe have been season regulars. Well, Osborne to a point, because he did do the series last year. And that is a lap car there going off. And is that Patterson again? So Patterson again in problems at turn 8. Dramas. It's unfortunate. So while Anderson car doesn't like turn 6, obviously Patterson doesn't like turn 8. Just slowed and pulled out of not getting into anyone's road to let him go. Now Garland's actually got a little bit of a break as we go into the last 3.5 minutes of this race, and he's left Heinrich to battle with Harvey the second. Held up badly there from lap. Oh, that's back in the. Thought that was the leaders there for a minute, but we're looking back in the field. That's car 24 of Connick ahead of Ash Johnson looking for a way through. That's the orange and black car in the background there, who Thompson. And now he'll get that spot back. Well, he nearly got that spot back. Didn't quite manage it. Jeff Waters on the outside of him as they battle through turn 6. Seen go off early in the week, and Grant Thompson just had a spin out of turn 8, and we can see Patterson's car parked just a little bit further up off the track away from turn 8. So Waters is now trying to fend off Asher Johnson, the second of the Johnson Trails Racing Enterprises team cars. And there's the other one further up the field in Jack Boyd. Sonny doing a limited program, Johnson doing the whole season, but Boyd is in for several of the rounds. And at the moment, doing a splendid job ahead of Reynolds. Dornan ahead of them. And they're just going through turn 5 on their 11th lap. We're down to the last minute, last race for the day. Have a change of position there. That's car 15. And getting it dog, but then Emma Clark in that job, normally in a light orange car, so that threw me for a minute. But then it was the technique that came back to make a race of that. Here we go. Our race leaders coming out on the straight. Will they be heading to the last lap, or is this the last lap? And no sign of a checker flag, so we're going for one more lap in this, which will be the 12th. They're just starting now, so this will be the race to the flag because our time has expired, and there's a great race going on for second as well, so two great dices to keep an eye on, with Garland, Heinrich, Harvey up the front, and then we've got Dornan, Boyd and Reynolds in the race for second. Not being deceived, I think there's another 3-0 racing for third, which will involve Williams, O'Keefe and Osborne. So with Patterson pulling out, that moves Craig Thompson up into 10th, who will at this stage start off pole for tomorrow's opening race. Boyd looking for a way past Dornan. Dornan's saying, I'm having none of this. Keeps him at bay through there. Boyd will have another go at turn 8. Here this battle for the lead will come down to the last couple of corners, I suspect. Garland appears to have just enough margin to maybe get away with this and square the round, so to speak, between he and Joel Heinrich as they head into Sunday, and they will share the back of the top 10 for the start of that race. And Cody Garland's got enough of advantage as they come out in the straight. So this is the last lap. So we've gone well over time, but all good. We want to see plenty of racing, and in the background we can see Jack Boyd trying to get past Scott Dornan down the straight, and Scott Dornan had to go right over to the left-hand side of the track to keep him out. Heinrich, on the other hand, will try and suss out. Oh, he does. Goes down the inside, gets the job done. So Joel Heinrich gets the lead back. They come out of the corner, and and there's been contact as Garland just got edged off the track and then came on in front of Harvey, and it's allowed Joel to get away with a bit of a margin out front. Mason Harvey now trying to get past Cody for second. They come through turn 5, and I think Mason's going to line him up for 6, but Garland was a wake up, moves over, not to let him through, then moves back to take the line. Now Mason will try a run up the hill and maybe try something at turn 8. Doesn't leave a lot. In the meantime, Heinrich's bolted. He's got this one. He'll make 2 for 2 for him. Through the corner he comes. He's through. Then we've got these two battling it out. What trick has Harvey got up his sleeve to try and wrestle away second spot from Garland in the run to the checkered flag? I think Garland might have just got enough advantage out of turn 10 to hold this, although Harvey comes back at him out of the last corner. It'll be up to the slipstream down the straight. And they use the Formula V snake effect to break that toe. Meanwhile, Joel Heinrich takes out the second race ahead of Cody Garland, with Mason Harvey in third. Scott Dornan held on to fourth, just ahead of Jack Boyd. Ryan Reynolds next one through. He takes in sixth position. Nigel Williams into seventh. Nathan Williams into seventh. Scott O'Keefe into eighth. Brett Osborne into ninth, and Craig Thompson from the back of the field to 10th gets the front row pole position for the reverse grid race 3 tomorrow. He finished ahead of Connick, Waters, Gooding, Van Loving, Jones. Thompson has recovered and finished 19th. That's Grant Thompson. Emma Clark should be the next one across the line. She is, and it's Hamilton, McKechnie, Macon, Mercer, and Cody McKay was a late pit caller as well. So out of that race, we're 24 finishes. Mercer not classified as well. Nissen in 24th, the last of the finishes. Well, that wraps up the racing from today, ahead of tomorrow, which first race tomorrow is, or for qualifying, is scheduled to start at 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So that's 8 o'clock in the morning in Queensland, and 9:30 I think in South Australia. And check your local guides. If you're not sure, just have a look on the website. You'll find out all that information.
Right, well, we've just had 2 races in the first round of the Battery Worlds Aussie Racing Cars here at Sydney Motorsport Park as part of the trophy tour for Motorsport Australia. Joel Heinrichs, so far, come out with 2 from 2.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to do something a little bit different. Obviously, normally we're on the supercar round, but, you know, sort of get looked after a bit better here, so that's been nice. Good start of the weekend. We've always been in that top 2 or 3 every session, and pick up 2 wins today was great. You know, the second one was definitely a bit more hard fought and, a bit of controversy, so, yeah, we'll see what plays from it.
And you said that there might have been a bit of touch going there when you got past Katie towards the end.
Yeah, I sort of copped a hit from him earlier on, and then when I got back to him, we rubbed a little bit, and then in the exit we sort of interlocked wheels, I think, and both ended up in the grass. But yeah, I know we sort of finished where we were there, and yeah, play on.
Now, I was talking to your dad yesterday. He said you were going to see how these first couple of rounds went, whether you're going to really pursue the championship for a three-peat. But by the way it's looking at the moment, that's definitely on.
Yeah, the car's fast. You know, the team done a mega job. If we're keeping it at the pointy end, it'd be silly not to keep pressing on. So, you know, yeah, we'll just see how the first few rounds roll and play from there.
Now, tomorrow you've got to start from 10th. You've got Cody alongside. How's that going to go?
Yeah, he's an aggressive driver. He's going to carve through him pretty quickly. But, you know, I'd just sort of rather stay out of trouble and, you know, pick him off. It's a long race. That one felt like it went for about an hour. So hopefully tomorrow's one feels like about an hour and, you know, just bag some points and get through some cars.
Well, wish you all the best for tomorrow.
Lovely, thanks.
Beautiful.